Hello and welcome to The Load In. This time I'm in my car. I forgot to record an intro to this podcast, so here I am doing it in a vehicle. Today I'm joined by Lindsay Makowicki to talk a little bit about some of the book events that we have coming up here at the United Theater over the next couple months. So after the break, we're going to dive into that. So stick around and put your hands together for me and Lindsay Makowicki after this. Hello and welcome back to the other part of the show. Today I am super excited to welcome back Lindsay Makowicki from Bank Square Books. We're going to talk about some books today. Lindsay, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me back. Does this mean I'm a recurring guest now?
You are. I think this is just part of these are like special drops, little gifts that we'll leave for people.
You're welcome.
You're like Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah.
Except at the end of our little trail, it's not a cannibal witch. It's cool events at the United Theater.
Yep.
So Lindsay, you have some really cool upcoming events for us, yeah?
Yeah, so lots of events we're partnering on. I guess I'll start from what's coming down.
Yeah, let's dive right
next. So the end of May, we're now in the middle of May, so the end of May is rapidly approaching. We're hosting Juliet Dzafic, who is really well known as a popular lifestyle blogger. Her blog is called Lemon Stripes, which she's been doing since 2010. So she took, she was posting a lot of like motherhood, decor, lifestyle, wellness, cooking on her blog with thousands of readers. And she took a lot of the recipes and turned it into her new cookbook, which we're celebrating, which is called Garden Grown. It's an aesthetically pleasing garden-to-table cookbook packed with over 100 colorful, easy-to-make, family-friendly, veggie-forward recipes and scattered with gardening tips along the way. Is
it a vegetarian book?
No, I think it's everything, but they focus on veggies. So at the event, her husband, Angel Dzafic, will be moderating it, and he's the gardener of the two of them.
Cool.
So there's that garden tie-in. So the event is Wednesday, May 29th at 6 p.m. right here at the United Theater. We have tickets available. You can buy a ticket that doesn't include a book, so you just get access to put your butt in a seat. Or you can buy a ticket that does include a book. And we will be there, we being Bank Square Books, will be there on site selling extra copies of Julia's cookbook. And it's just perfect timing with the summer. It's garden season. We're getting our little garden tower we have ready at our place. So really good timing. And she lives in Connecticut, so she's local-ish. I think she's over in Fairfield County. So
love it.
She's not too far from our little corner of the world here.
I also am I'm basically pretending to, I feel like I do this every single year where I do all of the things that a gardener would do. I put everything out in rows. I put them in all their specific places. I've got my tomatoes and Brussels and broccoli and all this stuff. And then I'll water them pretty consistently. I'll be on it for like 1 or 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then I'll just kind of stop. And I'll be like, if these things grow, then they grow. And if they don't, when they don't, I'll be like, well, I got a handful of Brussels that are then going to sit in the crisper until they rot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And when I say garden, we paid my brother to help set up our little garden tower. And my husband's traveling for work this week, so it's on me to water it. So this might be the week where stop watering it. But
well, I'm glad that you are investing locally.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. So what else do we got coming up?
So the next event is in June, Tuesday, June 18th. So we're hosting Ellen Flannery-Schroeder and Chelsea Tucker, who are the co-authors of a book called Banish, Bedtime Battles. This is for all you parents out there. The byline of the book is the ultimate 6-week plan to help your school-aged children sleep independently. So we'll be hosting them. The event's at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, June 18th. Same setup where you can buy just a ticket just to get into the event and get a seat, or you can buy a ticket with the book, and we'll be on site selling books. And I think we have some breaking news.
Scusi.
Just pull up. We I think secured a moderator for this event.
This is huge, folks. the fans of the Load-In are always excited to have an exclusive. So I'm beside myself. I can't wait to hear what Lindsay has in store for
Like
us.
the breaking news.
Beep, 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 beep.
So, Dr. Lindsay Anderson, who's a clinical psychologist from URI, is going to be moderating this event. So
Huge.
it's going to be really informative, and just a great event.
So this is the two authors. They're also psychologists or
Yes, they
behavioral
both
scientists.
have their PhD and are licensed psychologists.
That's awesome.
Ellen Flannery-Schroeder specializes in anxiety disorders in children, and Chelsea specializes in treating children and families seeking behavior change. So they took their wealth of knowledge and turned it into what sounds like a very helpful book.
Yeah, for sure.
Helping your school-age child sleep independently.
I mean, you're kind of always school age technically, so maybe I should read this.
Yeah. And they're both, I believe they're local to the area. And we're hosting them on the day the book comes out, so June 18th. So we're hosting them on Pub Day, which is always a cool opportunity to host authors the day their book is coming out. So it'll be a good celebration.
Now, did you hear that, listeners? Pub Day. Now that is a bit of lingo, right?
Yes,
a bit of industry parlance.
Yes, Pub Day means publication date, so the date the book is published, where you can come and buy it.
Now published. Speak on that.
Yeah.
I think we could probably figure that out with context. Yeah, that's cool. That's going to be a really fun event.
Yeah. And great timing with, school ending, summer. So, looking
School
forward to that
ends
one.
the next day. Put your kids into bed, tuck them in,
Yes.
make them go to bed until fall.
Yes. So that's coming up, and then in July we have some really exciting events as well. So, on Tuesday, July 16th at 6 p.m., we are hosting Ben Shattuck again for his latest book, which is called The History of Sound. And he will be in conversation with his wife, Jenny Slate. Ever heard of her?
Mm-hmm. SNL alum, stand-up comedian, Parks and Rec.
Mm-hmm. An author as well, and the voice behind Marcel the Shell with Shoes.
Yeah.
So critically acclaimed actress, comedian, New York Times bestselling author. So Ben's book is The History of Sound. It's a compilation of short stories that they call it a stunning collection of interconnected stories set in New England, exploring how the past is often misunderstood and how history, family, heartache, and desire can echo over centuries.
Wow.
So it sounds, I'm really excited to start reading this one myself. So that will be great. Similar format. You're maybe sensing a theme here. You can buy a general admission ticket to get in the building. And then you can also buy a ticket that includes a book, and we will have books available for sale on site. Both his new book, his previous book, and then Jenny's book as well will all be available for sale. So this is we hosted Ben, I think, in 2022, so it's been a couple years. And we're lucky to have, his lovely wife moderating this event.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's a cool two-header event for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I believe the feedback I saw from I wasn't here, but when we hosted the event a couple years ago, it was just a phenomenal experience. And on his tour, I believe this is the only event that Jenny is moderating. So we're very lucky to have this happening again.
Now they're based up in Vermont, right?
I think they're in Massachusetts. Yeah. I think that Ben owns a general store. I'm blanking on the town, but somewhere on the coast of Massachusetts.
I love that, do a soft retire from showbiz into a sleepy New England town, and then focus on the history of familial stories. I think that's very, very quaint, very, very not soulful, but there's something pleasing about that.
Yeah, and very New England. And he actually owns and runs the oldest general store in America, which was built in 1793.
Whoa.
And his previous book is called 6 Walks in the Footsteps of Henry David Thoreau. And that was a New Yorker Best Book of 2022, a Wall Street Journal Best Book of Spring, and a New York Times Best Book of Summer. Wow. It was some more
Did we get fall? Did we get best book of fall in that list?
Just
Just the other
spring,
three?
summer, yeah.
Spring and summer. Well, we'll
Um,
have to get those cold weather seasons.
um, and this is more bookseller jargon, but it was a New England indie bestseller. So all of our New England independent bookstores, we keep track of our own list of bestsellers. So that's indie means independent store.
For those keeping score at home.
Yeah. So yeah, we're beyond excited for this event. Tuesday, July 16th at 6 p.m. You'll join us.
Oh yeah.
And then just a couple weeks later, we're hosting local author Juliet Grames for her latest book, The Lost Boy of Santa Chionia. That's going to be on Monday, July 29th at 6 p.m. Juliet is absolutely wonderful. Her first book, The 7 or 8 Deaths of Stella Fortuna, was just so incredible. She really focuses on her Italian heritage and history and family connections there.
Speaking of which, fans of Soupy Fest and those who have attended the Soupy Fest this past March, you'll recognize her from one of the judges on the panel.
Yes. She's a big deal here locally. This new book, I'm almost halfway through reading it. It is such a page turner. Here's a little bit about the book. 1 unidentified skeleton, 3 missing men, a village full of secrets. It's a sparkling, by turns funny and moving novel about a young American woman turned amateur detective in a small village in southern Italy. So that is coming up in the end of July, and same deal. Please hope you're sitting down. You can buy a ticket to get into the event, or you can buy a ticket that includes a book, and we will have additional copies of the book and Juliet's backlist available for sale at the event as well.
I just want to apologize for all the people who were listening to this while they were driving. I hope in your excitement and surprise you didn't do anything crazy. But that's awesome.
So we love hosting.
Now you do that that kind of pricing because some people like to come with a significant other or a partner.
Yes, yep, and not every household needs 2 of the same book. Some people want to have their own book.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to share with their partner, but it opens it up to more people. People may already have the book. They may have already pre-ordered it. So we want to make our events as accessible to everyone.
Absolutely.
So we love hosting best-selling authors, so we're thrilled to host a local best-selling author. So that's Monday, July 29th. Mark your calendars.
Now, that's all the upcoming events through July that we have in partnership with Bank Square Books. But do you have anything coming up that you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's a few, and all of them are taking place in Westerly. So I figured I would focus
That's our town.
on those because that's where we live. And that's where we're recording this right now. So this weekend, Saturday, May 18th, we're partnering with the Westerly Library in Wilcox Park to host a panel event where we have several phenomenal local authors sharing the insights into their process on how they write. So that panel is being moderated by Deborah Goodrich Royce.
Heard of her?
And she'll also be participating and sharing her own insights on her craft of writing as well. The other authors are Laura Ehrlich, who is a phenomenal local author. She runs the Thought Fox Writers Den at the Velvet Mill in Stonington, teaches at UConn, and her latest book is called Animal Life. It's a compilation of short stories. It's just phenomenal. We'll have Vanessa Lilly, the author of Blood Sisters, who's local too. She lives in Narragansett, Rhode Island. And then we'll also have Anne Hood as well, whose new book is coming out. It just came out last week, The Stolen Child. And Anne is just so cool. She's based in Providence in New York City and has authored numerous books. So these are
bi-coastal.
Yes.
Technically, well, not. I mean, those are 2 coasts.
Yeah.
two parts of the coast of the same coast.
Yeah. So this is a panel of phenomenal, wonderful local authors that, if you're an aspiring writer, they'll be able to take questions from the audience. And then we'll have all of their books for sale at the event as well, and they'll be signing it after the event. So this is Saturday, May 18th at 1 p.m. at the Westerly Library in their auditorium on the 2nd level. So if you're around,
Is that you may have already said it. Is that a free to attend
free
event?
to attend. We do encourage registration. So
Sure.
if you go to our website, bankswarbooks.com or the Westerly Library website, there's a link to register. But it's free to attend. And again, they'll be talking about the writing process, their practices, paths to publication, where they find inspiration, and give advice to aspiring writers. I know the Westerly Library Writers Group will be in attendance, and they have a lot of really great questions to ask. So that's coming up this weekend. And then the following week, on Wednesday, May 22nd, our Ocean House author series that we do at the Ocean House, Deborah Goodrich Royce is the host of that series. We're hosting Elliot Ackerman and Joanne Leadham Ackerman. So it's a mother-son duo. So they'll be talking about their latest books. And these events are absolutely lovely. You get to go to the Ocean House. Upon arrival, there's a tray of beverages of your choice. You come in, there's light refreshments. You grab a seat. You're entertained by a wonderful author talk with Deborah moderating it. And then after the talk, you get to get a signed copy of the book. You get to get a photo with the author. So it's all in all just a lovely evening. So this one is coming up on Wednesday, May 22nd, and that starts at 5.
I mean, middle of May, end of May at the Ocean House on the beach.
Yeah.
Kidding me?
No better place
Sign
to be.
me up.
And then 2 more Westerly events. So back at the Westerly Library, we love them over there.
Go figure. An independent bookstore loves a nonprofit public library.
Shocker. We love our local libraries.
Now keep the 10 and 2 drivers. All right.
Yeah. So we haven't officially announced this yet, but we're hosting Carissa Broadbent, who is New York Times, USA Today bestselling author of the Crowns of Nyaxia romantasy series. The first book in that series is called The Serpent and the Wings of Night. So if you're active on Book Talk or Bookstagram, you definitely have come across these books. If you've read Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorn and Roses,
Yes.
also called ACOTAR.
Yes.
These are like usually what any bookfluencer is recommending to read next. So if you're a fan of romantasy that is full of heartbreak, redemption, blood intrigue, and heart-pounding action, we're celebrating the second book in this series, which was called The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. Carissa is based in Rhode Island, so she is local, and she's not doing that many events for this book release. I think she'll be in New York City the day before for an event, and then we're hosting her Thursday, June 6th at 6 p.m. at the Westerly Library.
That's dope.
Yeah, and this is, I'm
Talk about romantasy.
Yes. So I guess it's not new-ish, but it takes fantasy and pairs it with romance. So in fantasy,
10 and 2 drivers.
yeah. So sometimes in fantasy, it's, the sprawling world building and you're following these characters through many books. There's maybe some romance element, like you think of like a Song of Ice and Fire, like that whole unfinished series, George. There's elements of romance, but in romantasy, romance is usually one of the main plot points.
Sure.
And that usually means there's a happy ending. Even if it's just heartbreak to get there, there's usually a happy ending.
Yeah, like high fantasy, chivalry, gallantry. In this, there's a more stronger through line of romantic.
Yep.
And they're almost always page turners.
Yes.
True?
Yep. And this is good. So for those of you who read and loved The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which is it's the Nightborn duet, so it's a duology. So if you've been anxiously awaiting for the final book of the duology, they're releasing this special edition on June 4th, which will include a bonus chapter and new artwork on the book,
cool.
A detailed map, and I mean, us romantasy fantasy readers love bonus chapters.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, and give me an alt cover. I'll take them all day.
Yeah.
I've got some nice Brandon Sanderson alt covers on my bookshelf at home.
Yeah.
Look
Collector's
clean.
edition. Yeah. Yeah. So
Addie LaRue, I got all of that.
We're excited for this one. We love hosting local authors, and Carissa's star is on the rise. she's going to be huge. It's so popular on Book Talk and Bookstagram, and yeah, we're thrilled to host her.
Yeah, that's okay.
And this event will be moderated by local author Laura Ehrlich, who's on the panel at the Western Library a few weeks before. So this is Thursday, June 6th at 6 p.m. We are requiring registration, but the event is free to attend. So if you go to banksforbooks.com or the Westerly Library's website, there's a link to register there. And yeah,
that's at the library.
Yes, at the library.
Got
Yep. And then this is the last bit of breaking news, but we are hosting our second ever adult book fair at Beard Brewing at the Velvet Mill in Stonington. It's going to be Summer Beach Read themed, and that'll be Friday, June 14th from 4 to 7 p.m.
Nice.
So come out, grab a beer, pick up some summer beach reads. And we hosted our first one back in December, a holiday themed one. And it was a great turnout. People, what better pairing? Why should kids have all the fun with book fairs? So we're making book fairs cool again. And this seems to be a popular trend happening in the bookstore. One
thing that I love doing, I don't do it often enough, but taking a book to a bar, sitting at a bar, and maybe having probably maybe one too many beers for like 4 o'clock. But like it's just nice if you're there for like 2 hours, nobody really bothers you. Somebody comes over every once in a while. Like an hour and a half in, you order some French fries, and you just rip through that book. It's
Sounds
nice.
great.
It's restorative.
Yeah.
Find like a nice quiet bar, tuck into the corner like that. Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, what better way to spend your time? So, yeah, that's it for the plugs of
Excellent
bonus events. So yeah, lots happening.
Well, if you don't mind being here for the end of the show, I'll just dive right into our favorite segment. Of course, is checking to see if anyone wrote a review for the podcast. So let's go ahead and for once, I actually pulled it up before the end of the show, so you don't have to watch that. It looks like 5 stars. Let's read it. Friend of the pod and guest of the pod, Lindsay, here to say how awesome this podcast is. Entertaining and informative. What more can you ask for? Keep up the work, Lee. Great work. Keep up the great work, Lee. Mm-hmm. Now that's me. Now, Lindsay, do you know who wrote this review?
It's
because I've only had a couple people on this podcast and only one person named Lindsay.
Guilty.
It was you?
Me. It is me.
All right. Well, if you want to come on the podcast and then I can blackmail you into giving me a 5-star review and writing it, I will read it on air as we're doing now. Thank you so much for coming onto the show, Lindsay. I appreciate it. I think we'll probably do this in another month or so because we just keep on ripping with these book talks.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. Reading is cool.
Reading is cool, drivers. By the way, if you're driving, try not to read while you're doing that.
Audiobooks, great.
Audiobooks. There's
Libro.fm.
What's that?
Libro.fm is an alternative to Audible, which supports independent bookstores.
Libro.fm. Friend of the show, Libro.fm. So if you go to Libro.fm, put in promo code, they'll load in, nothing will happen, but you'll be doing the right thing.
Yeah. But you can select your local independent bookstore to benefit from your purchases.
Well, that's actually huge.
Versus supporting a company for someone trying to go to the moon. You could support your local community, people that work in your local community that just want you to read books or listen to them. I love audiobooks. It is reading.
It is
reading. Don't
let
anyone tell you otherwise.
Today, we are starting our campaign to send our independent local booksellers to the moon by purchasing and subscribing a membership to Libro.fm. Lindsay, thank you so much for coming on. It's always such a great time.
Thanks, Lee.
All right. See you guys next time. All right. Thanks for tuning in to the United Theater Podcast Network. If you enjoyed this episode, we encourage you to subscribe to our show so you never miss an episode.
And if you could take a moment to leave a review, we'd greatly appreciate it. Your feedback helps us create content that you love. So hit that subscribe button and leave us a review, and we'll see you on the next episode.